Hello everyone, my name is Jaden. I'm just going to be answering a few of the questions on the team building, relationship building, and a kiddo I've had in the past that's impacted me. For the, what was it? Not the team building, relationship building, or icebreaker. For an icebreaker activity from the slides that I particularly liked was the human bingo, where you get the bingo cards and you have to go around the class, say, have you been out of the country, or have you been skydiving? And then they get a little stamp on their card. I personally like that, coming from a small school where a lot of the icebreaker activities were kind of old and would get boring after. I'd known everyone I graduated high school with from the time we were 3 years old, maybe 4 or 5 new people in that 13 years, but we knew most things about each other. So never have I ever, 2 truths and a lie, or those type of things just got old by like 3rd grade because we knew everything about each other. So I liked the human bingo because even if you know everything about the class, it's still fun to see, oh, well, who can get it done the fastest, or okay, maybe I am learning 1 or 2 things new if the teachers put something on there that maybe we haven't discussed. So I do like the idea of human bingo just coming from a small school. And then for a team building activity, I do really like the marshmallow challenge. I remember doing this, I think in elementary, middle, and high school, and it would just get a little more complicated as we go. Maybe we would get to use tape or paper, different versions of the marshmallow challenge. And personally, I love a challenge. I love a good hands-on activity. I love a little bit of competitiveness thrown in there. And I think that, a lot of kids are kind of like that, kind of my style of learning. Not all, obviously, but I do think having that sort of real hands-on thing and maybe a little bit of that competitive aspect of it can kind of, increase engagement a little bit and really get kids hyped up about doing the activity. Relationships. So I was going to talk about one of the kids that I'm nannying. I've nannied for them for the past 5 years, I think. It might be 4, I forget. But how did I build a relationship? It was kind of hard at first. I'm just going to be talking about the middle one. There's 3 kids that I watched, but the middle one I feel like I have formed a more closer connection with and relationship with, and even if not a stronger relationship, I feel like he has impacted me the most in my time there. Building a relationship was I'll be honest, kind of rocky at the start. He was, I want to say 3 or 4, I think 3 turning 4 that year. And he was not nonverbal, but didn't care really to have a conversation with anyone. And he had a lot of kind of just troubles with his speech, some lisps and some stutters here and there. So it was even hard to understand him for the first couple days because I had to get used to the way that he would say things, and he would get very frustrated if you couldn't understand him the first time. And so it did start off a little rocky, I'll be honest, and I feel like that's a kind of common experience in childcare. It's not always first day we're best friends, So I did have to try. I really had to work on, I would take videos of him talking and listen to him at home so I could get it down so I wouldn't be disappointing him the next day. But we got that under control, and once we could have a conversation, it did become much easier to build that relationship. Kind of just figuring out, okay, what are you into? What can I learn about that? How can I incorporate more of that into our daily routine? Or, okay, you like this? Let's introduce something new. Let's try this. Let's see if you like this. And I think it was successful, and I don't know that it was even something that he was all that aware of, which at that age, honestly, definitely not. But I do feel like we did become a lot closer, just because I did make that effort to, 1, be able to understand him, and then 2, really dive into what he cared about and what his interests were, and take time out of my own day after I go home to, okay, let's research a little bit about Mario and maybe try to impress him tomorrow when I get there and talk about some Koopas or whatever. I just made an intentional effort every day to go in and really active listening is a big thing with him. He loves to, nowadays, talk your ear off. And he'll go on and on and on. And if you just stay engaged with him, he won't stop. And he loves it. He loves talking to me. And I feel like that is because I made a point to do that. And I love talking with him. So it's good. Why has it been so impactful? Well, I did recommend to his parents because I had been working for 3 years at a behavioral clinic throughout high school. It was a really, really cool opportunity, especially like going into childcare, having that kind of exposure very early on to just about every kind of learning disability or behavioral condition or any sort of mental, emotional, social emotional type of deal. I got to work with a bunch of licensed therapists who knew that I was interested and worked to teach me a lot about it. And specifically, we worked a lot with a lot of children with ASD. And I was noticing a lot of signs in Mikey, the kid I'm talking about. Throughout the summer, I never brought it up because he was so young, and a lot of the symptoms that you might be able to tell can just be the quirky little things that he's doing as a kid, you know, just being particular and this and that. But towards the end of the summer, it was kind of becoming more apparent to me, and I knew the family. They were good friends of ours at that point, and so I did feel comfortable talking to the parents about it. And they said that it was something that maybe they'd thought about before, but especially since I noticed it and that I had had experience in it, they decided to get him tested for autism later that summer, or before that next school year or whatever. He was going into preschool. He was starting preschool. And he did get diagnosed at that very early age. I think he was 4. And they were able to very quickly get him into a bunch of different types of therapy. He got to start working on his speech, and he did a lot of occupational therapy and kind of just working on that. So I felt grateful that I was given that opportunity to, you know, work with him, and that I could kind of help lead his parents into that direction to get him diagnosed earlier on, because they were even coming to me with questions as a 18-year-old, you know, like, okay, what do we do about this and that? And I was even not a professional, never claimed to be, but I felt that they felt comfortable coming to me with any sort of basic question, or just, you know, ranting about things, or being an emotional confidant or whatever. And I'm glad that I was able to help them through that and really get Mikey on the right track as early as possible so that he could be ready for kindergarten and really do his best. It's been, I mean, impactful in a lot of ways. I always feel grateful when I can, you know, form a good relationship with the kid. It always sticks with me. I love all my kiddos that I've worked with. But Mikey really has just stuck with me because he's just such a light in everyone's lives, and especially since getting therapy and working on himself, you can see even as a little kid, he's just turned things around for himself. He is one of the most fluent speakers you will hear now, and he has been at the top of his class in everything. So I've heard in kindergarten and first grade now. I mean, he's just thriving, and I feel like it means a lot to me because I just love seeing all of his progress that he's made, because he's worked really hard to get to that point, and it just sticks with me because I'm so proud of him, you know. Would it have been an impactful relationship with a strong relationship? No. I don't think it would have been impactful nearly at all. I mean, I feel like all of us have had those experiences with the summer babysitter where they just kind of come in and hang out, probably watch a lot of TV, and maybe go to the pool every once in a while. But I feel like I have intentionally formed very strong relationships with all 3 of the kids, and I don't think that any of us would have near as good of a time, or as, I mean, especially just from my perspective, I wouldn't have felt so, you know, impacted, or even be able to have those proud emotions and just connections with the kids if I hadn't taken time to build those strong relationships and taken time to really, really get to know them, so I'm able to form those relationships with them. What lessons did you learn? One of the most important things I've learned with Mikey and just in childcare in general that, and it's said to me all the time, being patient. Everyone's always like, I don't know how you're so patient, this and that. And I don't think it's really something that I do intentionally. I just know that as a child and even now, I've had ADHD bad my whole life, and I was always being annoying or talking too much, or I don't know how to end a story, or I'm always bouncing my legs around, clacking my hands to it, making noises, and I'm just blissfully unaware of it. And so I do feel like I have that patience, but I'm also just very accepting of everyone, especially kids, just kind of quirky little things that they do. Like if playing with your little Lego guy silently is going to help you listen to me and get through your day, by all means, do that. I have 5 toys in my purse that I need to play with to sit through class, you know? So I think it has taught me, just being in childcare, to, one, just be very accepting and not to let kind of those small things bother you. Understand that everyone has a reason that they're doing something. Any behavior has a reason behind it, and if you just take the time and have patience to figure out why they're behaving in that way, then 99% of the time you're going to be able to solve it, talk it out with the kid and figure out, okay, what can I do? What do you need to do? And so definitely, and Michael has been a prime example of that, just being very patient and just letting him express himself in any way he needs, and we will overcome whatever issue we're having together because we're a team and we're working it out. And he knows that. That's another thing. Be on their level. Let them know that I'm not bigger, stronger, better than you. Like in a classroom, I have authority, but I'm not viewing myself as this big bad boss guy. I want us to be able to have an honest conversation with each other. You don't have to feel like you're gonna get in trouble if you're telling me something. Just have that open, honest relationship, and learning that throughout my career and working with kids, it has made a world of a difference, just to have that patience to sit down, talk it out, figure out what's going on, you know. Excuse me. How will it impact future teaching? Well, I think kind of just everything I just said, just learning to apply that in a classroom setting, working with more kids at a time. I worked in classrooms at my church. I was typically dealing with 6-7 kids, and at the clinic I was working with, I think I could have 12 kids in my class at once, and I even babysat 10 kids by myself when I was 16. But I think learning to be able to kind of apply what I've learned to that bigger class, because I do get kind of fixated on, okay, I'm doing this for this kid right now, but as a teacher I'm going to have to be able to apply it to a large group, you know, and be able to build all those relationships with a lot of people. So just learning how to apply kind of all the things that I've talked about to a larger group, and also kind of just, you know, always having an open mind and staying, I forgot what I was going to say, but staying patient, staying accepting and kind and open and honest with my students. And I feel like Mikey has really helped me mature and grow and learn those things. So I hope that that will stick with me, and I know it will, but I hope that I'm able to keep this positive mindset about these kind of things and take it into my future classroom, take it with me into my future classroom. So yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.